What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to powder coat a frame and a subframe on a dirt bike. I tore down my 80 originally just because I thought there was major issues with the engine. I actually thought I blew it up, but I tore it down anyway, and when I took the guard off of the chain sprocket, I found that the link had just snapped and it shot the chain in behind the guard and it all piled up onto the case. It didn't crack the case, thankfully. And when I took the chain out, everything started moving freely. Everything was locked up, so I thought the engine had major issues. And I did find the engine low on coolant, but I'll show you the engine in a second and show you what I found with that quickly. I was going to do a video about it, but there's just not enough content in there really to do anything because the engine's good, but I stripped it down far enough. I figured I have more resources here to do powder coating, so I'm going to do what I wanted to do originally with the frame and go back to the original orange, and I'll show you what I'm going to use to do that. So as you can see here guys, my 80 is now a pile of parts on the floor here in the garage. So this frame here is going to be sandblasted and powder coated back to the original orange. And when I took the engine out, like I was saying, I thought there was major problems because when I try and move this, I couldn't. And on these 80s, it looks like this when it's on. So I couldn't see what was going on with the chain behind this guard. But what had happened is the master link let go and the whole chain piled in around here, and it just stopped the engine dead, and the engine just stopped, and I was just freewheeling along and thought I blew it up. But after I got it out, discovered that everything's kicking over nice and easy. And I went into here and I opened that up and looked inside at the piston. The piston looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks like it's brand new. So that's definitely not an issue. So I was wondering why I was losing coolant because the rad was empty. And I actually went to back this off, and this was like super loose. So I took this off and I popped this out, and all in behind here I could see evidence of like leakage, like the coolant was like crystallizing as it was leaking out. So I think I had a super slow leak in here, and it just slowly took the coolant down to the point where there was you couldn't see it in the rad. And before I washed it, I seen some dried coolant here. So I think that was the issue. I'm going to do a couple things to this. I'm just going to replace the shift shaft seal for sure, because that's definitely leaking. So I might replace the whole shift shaft, so I might have to take that whole cover off, but I'll see about that. I was going to go into a big video about it, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal to have to go through all the footage and filming and all that. These are pretty easy to replace. You can find videos on how to just pop them out with a couple of screws and then replace it with a socket. It's not that hard. So in this video, I'm going to focus on doing the frame and the subframe, which is in my sandblaster here, which is kind of a new addition to my setup here. I've had it for a little while, but got the subframe in there. So I've been blasting it a little bit just to see how much of a challenge it would be to get it off with the blast media I got here. It's chewing through it no problem, but this is kind of a new addition here. I did the 96 YZ125's frame in this cabinet. It definitely took a while to do. That was pretty tough paint, but this shouldn't be too bad. And I got this big 120 gallon compressor in here to run that, because you need a really big compressor to run those stand-up cabinets there. And I built this powder coating oven pretty well from scratch. So I used a LG oven, and I broke the oven down into just the guts of it and built the whole frame and insulated it and everything like that. This thing works really well. I did the YZ125 frame in this as well. But when I originally did this bike, I wanted to go back to the original R119 Flash Red paint. I couldn't get it to Canada like sensibly. I think I had to pay like over $100 shipping, and then plus the whatever it was, like $30 a can or whatever it was, $40 a can American to get it here. So I just went, I spray bombed it black, which it did all right, but it just, as you can see, didn't last. So I figured since I was stripping this down for what I thought was going to be a whole engine rebuild, I thought I'd just take it right down to the frame again and blast it and put this powder coat I found on it. And I'll show you that right now because it's a perfect match to it. It's not the R119 Flash Red, but it's an absolute, in my opinion, perfect match for it. So I've got a test piece here for what's called Cabot Orange, and it's from Prismatic Powders. It's definitely the closest powder coat I could find to this color here. So, I mean, it doesn't get much closer than that. So you put it to that piece. This piece is even just a touch faded too. So a better example is the fender is still pretty good. So you put it against that, and like the difference is, I don't even see a difference, honestly. So if I take this and put it against the frame here where there's the original orange left over, or Flash Red, looks orange to me, but they call it Flash Red. This looks absolutely identical. So this is going to be the color I'm going to be doing these in. So I'm going to start sandblasting this subframe now, and then get to the frame after. This is going to take a while, so it's not going to be, well, the same day for me, but it'll be in the same video, but it won't be for the same day because it takes a few days to do these frames. All right, so I got the frame mostly stripped here. There were some areas I just simply couldn't get. I couldn't reach it with the gun. So I'm gonna have to use my Dremel, my die grinder, maybe some chemical stripping on it. But other than that, this frame is pretty well stripped. So it's just a matter of time before I'll be able to cook it out in the oven and be able to powder coat this. All right, guys, so I got the frame and the subframe in the powder coating oven. I'm gonna cook them out for about an hour at 300 degrees. And that'll definitely help cook all the contaminants out. I was gonna take it out and wash it, but I'll do that after I cook the contaminants out, and I'll give it a really good degreasing after, and then I'll let them dry, and then they'll be ready for powder coat. All right, guys, so I got the frame all cleaned and degreased. I got it hanging up there, ready to powder coat. I got the Cabot Orange powder in the gun there now. So now I'll use the 15K voltage setting on the dual voltage Eastwood system to get all the nooks and crannies, and then I'll crank the voltage up to 25,000 and then just do the rest of the frame, all the easy parts to do. All right, guys, this is what it looks like before it goes in the oven. It's kind of like a really matte color, but it'll shine up when it's in the oven cooking out. So when you're doing this, before you do this, I should have mentioned this before, you always want to make sure these threaded holes are plugged. I use bolts to do it. You can get plug kits from Eastwood and stuff like that, but I use bolts. So it's just easier just to pull them out if they get stuck a little bit. You can use a wrench or whatever. So, but now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this in the oven and cook this out. So now that the frame's in the oven, I've got it set to 400 degrees. And when it flows out, which means that's when the powder turns into a liquidy substance and it kind of gets gloss to it, like it should look when it's cured. Then you start your timer for 12 minutes. And that's what Prismatic says to do for this Cabot Orange is 12 minutes at 400 degrees. So I'm gonna wait for it to flow out. Usually by the time this oven reaches 400, the powder is flowed out, but I usually just crack the door open and have a look anyway, just to make sure. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then when that happens, I'll put the timer on for 12 minutes. All right, so there it is, guys. This turned out really fantastic. So like I was saying, this is about as close as you're gonna get. And in my opinion, it's a perfect match to the R119 Flash Red paint. If you got something better, let me know in the comment section what you've done as far as powder coating goes. But as far as matching that paint, this is about as good as it gets, I think. So, and it's even more durable than paint. Usually powder coat's pretty good stuff. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the subframe, powder coat that and throw that in the oven and see how that turns out. So there's the frame and the subframe done in that Cabot orange there, guys. I think it turned out amazing. I think it's like a perfect match to the R119 Honda. Let me know what you think down in the comments there. If you got, like I said, if you got something better, let me know. But I think this is like a perfect match. So I'll definitely link it down in the description where I got the powder coat from. And you don't need a setup like mine. You can just order it, take it to your powder coater if you got a bike like this, like a 1980s CR80. 125, 250, 500 even. This will work for those. But yeah, if you guys are new to the channel and you like this kind of content, I make these videos all the time. I got a whole playlist of other builds that you guys can watch too, so check those out if you want. And give this video a thumbs up if you want. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, guys.